Hello, folks. I'm David, and this is From the Hip podcast. We're shooting in the Say What podcast studio, and we're sponsored by the Covenant Studios. Today, I have Alyssa Mayo with me, and we were talking about things off camera. We decided to bring it on camera. So you were telling me about all the things you can do on Twitter.
Yes. I think Twitter is definitely one of our better platforms right now. I think...
We'll move your mic just a little bit. There you go.
Thank you. I think that Twitter is... Right now, it's the only platform you can post creative stuff, as well as if you're, for instance, on OnlyFans, or if you're in more of a art realm where it's, you know, for instance, I do art modeling, figure modeling for painters, and I'm able to post stuff like that on there. You can post more on Twitter right now. So it's becoming the platform, in my opinion, that people are choosing like we used to choose for Tumblr, because it just has more of an ability to be professional as well as still creative or still on the artistic side of things or on the adult side of things. So yeah, I think that's where we're going right now with all of our social media platforms, because Instagram's definitely not the place anymore.
Not user-friendly in some cases.
Yeah.
Well, in the podcast, I don't have a need for censorship because we're family-friendly.
Which I love.
But what I have a need for, I've got YouTube for the podcast. I've got Facebook for all kinds of things. I've got Instagram. I've got TikTok. And I've got a Twitter somewhere that I started a long time ago.
Okay.
And I've got Tumblr. I want to post on all of them at the same time. Is there a tool to do that you know of?
There is. I would have to look it up. I'd have to figure out the name of it for you. But there is an app that a lot of the OnlyFans girls use because of how many platforms they're having to post on all the time.
Right.
But it is a thing where you go in, you log into all of your different apps, you connect it to it, and then you are able to go into that and schedule all of your different posts, as well as not just schedule, but you're also able to click, okay, I want these to go to this app, these to go to this app. If you have a YouTube video that's longer, you could post just that one to just YouTube.
Right.
Stuff like that. But yes, there is an app for that.
There's an animal out there.
There is an app. If it's not an app, it's in like the beginning stages where it's just a website, but I'm pretty sure it's an app already. I found out about that one from Allie as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now, Alyssa's here because she's a model. She has shot at the studio numerous times.
10 years.
10 years. Yeah. And when I say the studio, I'm talking about the Covenant Studios. And you do all genres?
I do most genres. I stay away from erotic specifically because I've tried to stay in the realm of art modeling, solely because a lot of people like to misconstrue what type of modeling is what. And so I try to stick to random terms that I know society has understood a little better. But the way I usually explain it to someone who is actually inquiring about my modeling services is I explain, you know, tell me what project you're working on, tell me what the whole concept is, and not just the concept, but where did it come from? Like, do you have a meaning behind it, or are we just shooting content so you can see me nude? And I say that because I have had that come up where I'm just like, I can tell that this is what you're wanting from this photo shoot, and I'm good. Because, yeah, my whole platform is just mostly nothing but actual concepts that either took years to put together, or it's a concept that someone was like, hey, you know, I want to do this. I want to do this art concept. I want to do this.
I've got an idea type of thing.
Yeah. My favorite though, what I tell people is my bread and butter is fashion, editorial, and avant-garde. I started with making my own clothes from scratch, and I started with doing runways and all kinds of stuff at the very beginning of my career. And then I went to the art realm specifically because I started getting into my own spiritual practices, and I started getting back into dance a lot, like lyrical contemporary type dance. And it turned into me being like, you know what? I kind of want to get into the art side of things and look into painters painting me and stuff like that. And now me and Katie, we sit on the back end and we get to actually kind of make little jokes about, yay, we're going to be a part of history forever because we are now oil paintings that are going into galleries and stuff like that. So it's really, it's fun, but I have to explain it a little bit usually to people because it's not that modeling isn't cut and dry anymore like it used to be. It's not, oh, I do fashion, oh, I do editorial. You kind of dabble in all of them, or you have a very specific niche that you're known for. So,
Well, since you said you've been shooting at the studio for 10 years, let's go back to the beginning. Where were you born?
I was actually born on a military base in North Carolina. I was there for 2 years of my life, and then I moved back to Texas. My family's from Texas, so I tell people I'm a Texan through and through. I just happened to be born on a military base. And yeah, so I was born there, came here, and I've been here since I was 2. So.
And it's here, DFW area?
Yes, yeah. I've literally lived all over the DFW area. I mainly grew up in Duncanville and Midlothian. And then outside of that, I have lived in Frisco, like actual downtown Dallas. I've kind of lived everywhere, but outside of that, I've lived in Florida for a couple months, Louisiana for a couple months, and that was just for filming purposes. And
Oh, okay.
yeah. If I'm ever living somewhere for a couple months, it's usually because I'm working on a project and I'm out there living there for however long, and then I'm like, okay, I'm back.
Well, I lived in Houston for 6 weeks.
Nice. My boyfriend's from Houston.
Well, I did not care for Houston.
He doesn't either. Most people don't.
The weather,
It's humid.
a lot of the people,
It's so humid.
and of course, my love of my life was, at the time, was here in DFW. And I enrolled in University of Houston, and I hated the job I was doing. I was in the roach coach industry, little trucks that go around the construction sites.
Yeah.
And anyway, the first day of class was canceled because of hurricanes.
Oh, that sounds about
So,
right.
so here I am. I hate the job. I hate the city. Love of my life, DFW area.
Not even here. Yeah.
And I said, I'm not staying. I'm going home.
I wouldn't have either, honestly.
And so,
I've
but
been
that
down
was,
there a few times. It's not my favorite. I absolutely love Dallas, but I definitely know within the next 3 to 5 years, I will probably no longer be in America. So that's my plan.
where would you go?
Right now, it's looking like I will probably do the same thing as Katie, actually, which weirdly didn't even come from her doing it. My boyfriend wanted to go to Bali a long time for himself. I've wanted to go to Bali and a lot of other places, but I just haven't been out of the country, and I finally was like, you know what, I think we should do that. And then Katie wound up wanting to do it as well, so we're kind of just making a whole team and traveling and being safe about our travels and stuff like that. But if I wind up where I think I'm going to wind up, I will probably wind up in Fiji. And that's just, I've had that in my head since I was a kid. I've told people since a very young age that I was going to wind up living on a beach somewhere in a hut.
Okay.
I don't.
So
I don't,
Fiji it is.
yeah, it's either Fiji or it's, if it's not Fiji, if I had to pick a more like on land type of place, I probably would go with Italy. That's just where my heart wants to go, so.
So how'd you get into modeling and when?
So I got into modeling when I was 18. I wanted to get into it a lot younger, but I was actually not allowed to. I was in a very Christian family, a very Southern family, very boxed in going, hey, I don't think you should do that because I think you're going to get an eating disorder from it, as well as I just don't think it's a good mentality for younger kids to be in. I was like, okay, it is what it is. Like, I'll live my childhood. And then when I turned 18, I looked at my dad and I said, I'm going to go model. I was still in high school at the time because I turned 18 in November. So I was in the middle of my semester. And I told him, I was like, no, I'm going to start going to a modeling school. Like, I'm going to do the whole 9 yards. And his response was, okay, if you want to do that, go for it, as long as you can show me that you can make money at it. And within the first 3 months, I had a front cover, back cover, and a 6-page spread, and I was making money at it. So I told him, I was like, I think I'm going to do this as a career.
What magazine did you have that in?
Goth-esque. It was in a magazine based out of, I believe it was Indianapolis, but I could be totally wrong. It's been forever since I've looked into that, but it was a magazine called Goth-esque magazine. It was for art concepts, and it was with a team. Jamie Fawn makeup. She's an amazing makeup artist. She does celebrity makeup artist stuff nowadays. Phenomenal. She does a lot of stuff for the news, I believe. And then the photographer and someone who was like, they were kind of working together to make my outfit on the set day of was Adrian Jevnik, and I really think I'm messing up her name, and so I apologize if I butchered that. But
I butcher every name.
I was gonna say I'm doing the best with that one, but I'm pretty sure it's Adrian Jevnik, and she's a phenomenal creator. I don't know if she's still doing photography or not, but they did that, and it was something like what I've never done before, still to this day. I still consider that one of my favorite shoots that I've ever done. They pulled me as a new face and as a avant-garde editorial photo shoot. And it was kind of like if you took a goth version of Marie Antoinette type of thing. And it was very, very beautiful. I still to this day, stunning.
So did you get paid by the magazine?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say, most people don't talk about that. Publications, I don't feel like I've ever gotten paid from a publication. And what I mean by that is not from the magazine. I have always gotten paid from photographers hiring me for a photo shoot. And then if it gets published, it gets published. That's awesome. But no, usually from the stuff that I've been around, if you're getting published, it's so that way every person on the team is able to have their name in a magazine so they can have recognition for the things that they already do, which is, styling, makeup artistry,
Whatever
hair,
it might be.
hair, makeup, whatever. So I don't think I've ever gotten paid from a magazine publication. I've always gotten paid from the actual photographer.
Well, I've had this conversation before, and I'll be having it a lot more. But to me, getting published doesn't mean all that much.
It doesn't anymore.
Exactly.
It doesn't anymore.
Back, 50 years ago when I started, there were no digital anything.
It
So
has
if-
changed a lot. I've told a lot of people recently, actually, I had this conversation, I want to say like 2 or 3 days ago with a close friend of mine. She's getting back into makeup artistry. And I told her, I was like, as a makeup artist, being published is a completely different thing than for a model. I was like, for a model, like I got published, okay, cool. Like that's really kind of where we sit as a model. Like that's a cool thing to get done, but it, like you said, it doesn't really get us anything. But as a makeup artist, she's able to take that publication and she's able to go to, for instance, I'll use NYX Cosmetics. She's able to go to them and be like, here, I've been published for my makeup artistry and I have actual...
I want a discount or whatever.
Yeah, and so they'll be able to go, okay, and then they'll look into your social media. And that's where people fall flat half the time is they're not realizing, oh, I need to also have the numbers on my social media to back the fact that I do this in a non-digital form because digital has taken over. Like
Yeah.
there's no way around it. If you don't have the numbers now, it's not going to pay you. It's just not, which is, in my opinion, sad.
Yeah.
But that's just the industry now. So I think people are trying to learn how to adapt to it, and that's been interesting to watch. But
Well, I've run people that puff their chest out, and I got published in ABC Magazine. Oh, well, what's that going to pay?
yeah,
Oh, it doesn't pay anything. So it's an ego thing.
yeah.
And
I think the best thing I can compare this to right now is, so there is I don't know if you would call it a contest or a sweepstake, or I don't know what you would call it, but it's a casting call for Playboy. And they're not the only ones doing this right now. And I was having this conversation with a few different models and just different people in the industry, seeing what their take is on it. And it's an interesting topic for sure. But Playboy and, for instance, Dolls Kill, they both have a contest or a casting call contest or something like that, where they are saying, hey, like putting out on their Instagram, which is where I saw it. Hey, we're going to have a casting call in these locations all throughout America, and we're trying to find the next Playboy bunny. And with that comes all of these, da-da-da-da-da-da.
perks.
Yeah. And something that I had to explain to someone who's not in the industry, and they were trying to understand how that's beneficial to both parties, and where does the model make money, and like this and that. I had to explain to him, I was like, well, one, if it doesn't inherently say that you're making money off of it, you're probably not going to make much money off of it. But if it is sitting there, for instance, Playboy, and not just some random magazine, and it has a name behind it, I had to explain to them, I was like, the amount of publicity that the one, like Dolls Kill, Playboy, Hustler, any of
The
the
exposure.
top, yes, the exposure that you get from it is literally what you're going for in order to get those jobs that you're wanting. And so I had to explain, I was like, no, it's an investment. It's not a I'm getting paid, I'm getting to go do this or whatever. It's, hey, I get to post that I'm doing this thing, or hey, I get to do this, or I get this video on their profile because they liked my walk, or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. And that's your payment at that point, and they know that as far as platforms go, all of these big names are like sitting back going, okay, all we have to do is put out a casting call, and we will get this many some odd thousand of people to come out, and all of them are going to post on their social medias, if not half. And if half of them, hell, if 1/3 of those people post about going to our event, that's thousands of free marketing.
Right.
And so that's something that I explain to people is, I'm very to myself. I won't post things solely because I know that is money. And I think that is going to be where people start to learn what to post and what not to post. For instance, there's a really big issue right now in Asia. They are taking all of their, I'm talking people from very young all the way to very old, are taking all of their photos off of every platform that they can find that has their face in it, because people are making deep fakes of them and doing all kinds of stuff with it. And it's gotten out of control, to the point that digital stuff, people are retracting from it. So I think we're in this really weird realm right now where people are trying to figure out which way they're going to go. Are they
If
going
it's
to
going to be
go?
worth it or not.
Yeah, is it worth me to go into the digital realm and fully digitize my whole life? Or am I going to go into the realm of take me out of everything digital and keep me in a natural society type of mindset, which is very intriguing. And it's a very, very out there topic. But whenever you get to talking with people about it, some very interesting thoughts come from people, because it's not as cut and dry as people want to think it is. The digital world, if it did take over, like you said, you lose a lot of, one, jobs, but two, you lose a lot of just personality and stuff in it. And so I don't know, I think it's going to be, the next couple of years is going to be very telling for digital creators.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I'm interviewing models and photographers.
Mm-hmm.
So the audience, whoever's watching, can get to know you through here.
Yeah.
And get to know, oh, she's cool. I want to shoot her.
Which is honestly something that a lot of people don't talk about, I don't feel like, at least not like on a regular basis. It's very, hit or miss, or like very here and there, is the fact that whenever you're doing stuff like this, you're giving the people who don't necessarily have a good online presence. And what I mean by that is, like, say, I'll use myself as an example. I'm autistic. I have stuff going on where I can't perceive certain tones through text or whatever the case may be. And so I may perceive someone completely wrong and think that they're saying something completely offhand, something out of pocket that I'm like, whoa, that's not cool, when they're not. But if I do something like online where it's visually there, you can see me and I can also have a better interaction with you because of that. So I love
Right,
podcasts.
so people, if they just see your pictures or something random you post,
They have their own perception of me.
They have a perception that may not be true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But when you do the podcast, they get to know a whole lot more about you.
Mm-hmm. And also see personality, which I feel like is a huge thing, because I feel like something I've dealt with over the years is when people see my photos and stuff, and since I've had a decent influx on TikTok recently, it has become more prevalent for my brain. But a lot of people are like, wow, like you do some crazy content when it comes to just like the fact that you'll put yourself out here like this. And I don't see it that way. Like I don't, my brain doesn't sit in that realm ever. And so I've had to like really take in, oh, people are perceiving every little thing, whether I'm meaning it to come off that way or not.
Right.
And so, for instance, some of my nude fine art stuff, people have sent me messages being like, for instance, do you have an OnlyFans? For years and years now. I have to explain to people, I'm like, no, I've never had one. I will never have one. The only reason I've ever even had to make one was because someone was trying to steal my photos off of my phone by hacking it and making an OnlyFans of me. And so I had to make two with my email so that way no one could make them of my emails, which is ridiculous. But because of that, I have to explain to people, I'm like, no, like this is just what I like. My brain just sees the human body as statues, pretty much. Like we are literally art. And I've made a lot of TikToks about that, actually, and a lot of people really like that I'll be silly about it, because that's the other thing is, like, I feel like a lot of models don't talk about how they'll be uncomfortable with certain things other models are doing. Like, for instance, if I do nude modeling, I'll get backlash from fashion models who are in agencies and stuff, and I'm like, this is intriguing. I'm like, I would love, like, I want to do a podcast at some point with that. Is like, I want to talk to other models talking to models about just everything like that. Because I'm sure. Get
one or two and let me know.
Honestly,
we can handle
I was going to say, I was like, yeah, you have another channel.
We got enough mics.
That'd be really fun and interesting.
And I'll just give up my, probably better set to be the referee. But
sit off screen.
So we don't have a cat fight.
Honestly, that sounds like it'd be very interesting, because there really are.
Fight?
There's different. No, totally meaning the cat fight. No, it'd be very interesting to see just people talking about their version of modeling, because of the fact that I feel like so many people have different, like we said, perceptions of what is right or what is like a good form of modeling or whatever the case may be. And from my brain, I constantly come from the realm of like, yeah, like, let's talk about it. Like, what's your take on it? Because I see all modeling as, I'm like, okay, like, you do you. Like, whatever you see as your form of modeling, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your modeling.
So, okay, so you started at 18. And I'm not going to ask you how long ago that was.
I'm happy to talk about that. The reason I'm happy to talk about it is because I feel like a lot of people don't realize my age whenever they're talking to me.
I do see one gray hair.
I have
Several.
so much going on. But no, I will be 30 next year. I'm about to be 29 in November. So I have been modeling since I was 18, which is 10 years.
Yeah.
11 years, about to be 11. So yeah, I got into it and I kind of was like, let's just go for it. Started at the base level modeling like everyone does and worked my way up. And that's another thing that I feel like people don't talk about with like long standing careers as a model is the segue of modeling, because you're not just gonna start with nude modeling, which is what I think people see when they see my modeling, is they're like, oh my gosh, like how could you do that, like that type of thing, when I'm really sitting there going, I didn't start here. I would not have been comfortable starting with nude modeling first off, but I started where everybody starts, as a new face. I did my cosmetic modeling. I did like just base level beauty modeling and editorials and stuff, and then moved my way into what I thought was okay as an adult, which is art modeling, and now I'm here. And I do a lot of boudoir too, so I guess I should throw that out there. That's another like bread and butter for me at this point in my life, which is translating to modeling for like lingerie companies and stuff like that.
Well, and I've been in this industry a long time, and I've had the studio for 17 years now.
Yeah.
So,
wow, crazy.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
Aren't we all?
Well, let's hope so.
I hope we're aging, honestly.
Yeah. You have a model come in, and she's the flavor of the month. And everybody wants to shoot her.
The it girl.
The it girl.
Yeah.
And then she fades away. And then you have some that come in and they shoot for 6 months, and somebody in their life tells them that, oh, you can't have those pictures out there. Normally it's a jealous boyfriend.
If it's not a jealous boyfriend, it's usually an uncomfortable family member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
mine was a bit of both.
And I understand that from their perspective.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that they may stop modeling, at least for a period of time. Because
it just shows that they're respectful to the people that are around them. One.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I've been around so long, I've seen them come back after a 10-year vacation. And now they're ready to model again. And but then you got the flavor of the month. You got the ones that pop in for a short period of time. And then you got the ones that think they want to be a model, and they book lots of shoots.
Yep.
They never show up for any of them. And they get a bad name.
Yeah. I've definitely not just heard, but also seen a lot of that over the years, just from like secondhand, not like myself, but hearing from photographers like, oh, I just had someone cancel, or oh, I had not cancel. I had someone not show up, and I've never my brain doesn't understand that, and I think that's just a part of me as a person.
Well, mine doesn't either.
Because I don't know. In fact, I just had this conversation last night with my boyfriend. So we were talking about how no matter what happens with who you wind up with, whether you're talking about the friends that are around you, your family members, your significant others, anything, it doesn't matter who is around you. If they understand that that's your passion and that's your dream, then one, they should be supportive, unless it's literally doing you harm. Then I can understand, and I'm saying that because there are definitely people out there who have tried to be like, no, this is good for me. And it's definitely not, whether that's mentally not good or physically not good for you. But if they're not being supportive of it, the conversation we had last night was, it's your dream and it's your passion. You should also have the guts and the
And fortitude.
yeah, like to be able to sit there and go, I know what I'm doing. This is what I need to do for my life. This is something that means a lot to me. I'm going to do it anyways. And if that person respects you and supports you, they're gonna be okay with it in the end. And I say that because I have been through the two drastic opposites.
Right.
Multiple times at this point in my life. I've had family members, I've had friends, I've had whether it's a jealous friend, whether it telling you not to do something just because they don't want you to have those opportunities, or a family member telling you not to do it because they don't want to see those things of you out there on the internet, or a boyfriend being like, hey, I'm not comfortable with you shooting with these people because I don't know them. That's cool. That's my job, literally. Like, my job is to meet people that I don't know and take photos.
Do you ever take anybody with you?
Most of the time. If it's a new person, definitely. If it's not a new person, I'm very big on, I grew up with my dad being a cop and a military dad. I always have protection on me, whether that's a knife or whatever. I also I tell people all the time, I grew up in the South. Part of my raised living was on a ranch for a good chunk of my life. I barrel raced and did some crazy things in my life, and so because of that, I tell people, I'm like, no, I can protect myself.
Right.
But if it's a new person, I suggest everybody always take someone with them, even if it's just a girlfriend of yours. Because
Somebody that could call the cops.
Yes, and not even just that. And this is this is not my story, but I have heard things like this, so I'll just use it as like an example. This is not a true story.
Not your true story.
No, this is not a true story at all. This is just similar to stuff that I've heard that I can use as an example, because no one's names are involved or anything like that. It's good to have anyone, including if it's just a female, because even if they have to call the cops, what happens if you need someone to jump on someone's back?
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because that is something that definitely has come up in conversation.
Or hit them on the back of the head with a beer bottle.
Something, just anything to deter people from doing bad things. But no, I highly recommend and suggest people taking people with them. And I do it myself very often.
Pause just a second. Mm-hmm. We'd normally be running out of time, but we don't have anybody behind you.
Okay.
So, can we continue, Glenn? Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to not run over time.
No, you're good. I was going to say, I know y'all have a schedule.
Well, we do, but we had one canceled.
Okay.
And
well, look
I
at
think
that.
I forgot to tell Glenn.
A cancellation. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, you get to run over. But yeah, cancellations are terrible. Yeah. And no-shows are even worse.
I honestly, I tell people from both sides, as a photographer, stylist, model, on any side of it, it's never a fun thing for anybody. Because I've had photographers last minute cancel, whether it's, an actual emergency or literally just not texting me back day of. And I'm just like, okay, I guess you just didn't want to work with me after all. You just wanted to talk to me. I don't know what that was about, but okay. But no, cancellations are very, very interesting. I have tried over the years very hard to make it a point to go to every single thing that I ever book, as long as it wasn't an actual emergency for me to be like, okay, no, I genuinely cannot show up today. Whether that's a flat tire and I have no way of getting a new tire on my car right in that moment, or whether it's me getting randomly sick or something like that. But
right.
No, that's a huge thing because it's been such a prevalent topic from photographers from the very, very beginning of my career. One of the things,
and it's because it's always been an issue.
It has been, and I didn't realize how bad of an issue until I started my career. Like I said, I was like a month or two in by the time I got that publication. Well, in that time frame, I went to that studio to do that photo shoot, and I showed up. I still try to do this if I can. If I am too booked, there's just no way to do it with traffic, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But most of the time, I try to show up 10 to 15 minutes early, because
Right.
if you're early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late. And that's just how I was raised. I did color guard for years. It's just in my brain. I showed up 15 minutes early. My brain goes, I'm on time. I sit down inside the studio space. They had an entrance point where they
Right.
had a front desk clerk. And I sit down and I see a chair. I'm like, okay, I can wait. I have 15 minutes. I'll wait till it's my time slot to do my photo shoot. And the front desk person walked up and was like, hey, you good? I was like, kind of looked around. I was like, yeah, am I in the wrong place? Like, this is a studio, right? Like, I was very confused. I was like, why are you questioning why I'm here? And they looked at me and they said, we've never had anybody come early. I didn't realize that you were the model for today. I was baffled. I was baffled by that. And I remember going home that day and being like, because at the time I was freshly 18 still. I was still living at home and everything. And so I remember going home and being like, Dad, you'll never believe
What happened?
the statement that came out of someone's face today. But no, because of that, I'm like very, very big on timeliness and making sure people get the time that they're supposed to get. And I think cancellations they should be few and far between,
Well,
depending on the model.
or with 24 hours in advance.
That too. Like, for instance, I know I've had some photo shoots where I have messaged the person late in the evening, the night before, solely because that was the moment that I found out that something happened, or I instantly, like, for
Yeah.
instance, say you wake up in the middle of the night, it's 2 a.m. and you're throwing your guts up and you're like, I'm not about to get this person sick. Let me
Yeah.
go ahead and send a message at 2 a.m. so they see, I'm trying to get it to them as soon as possible, one, but two, they can also see, I literally woke up at 2 a.m. throwing my guts up, and this is what's going on. Because that's a huge thing for my brain. I think because I'm on the spectrum, I have very, weird nuances with how I feel like I need to communicate with people in order for them to perceive things correctly. And so I sit back and I'm like, no, I should text them literally right now, so that way they have the most amount of time. And when they wake up, they already have that information and they can start their day with that instead of having to wait.
If you're like me, if I send a text at 2 a.m., then at 8, I would call and say, did you see my text?
That's, yeah,
Yeah.
I either text you, and then if I, for instance, if I was sick, passed out, if I didn't message because of that, that's one thing. But no, I usually do a triple check is what I call
Yeah.
it. But I do the first moment that I know something's going on, I let them know something's going on, and that'll keep them updated on if I'll be there or if I won't be there. Or if I already know in that moment, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do this. I will not be there. And then, yeah, I'll check in twice in the morning.
I had a guy working for me in the courier industry one time. Now, he had worked for the Star Telegram for 53 years
Wow.
and retired, and came to work for me as a courier. His name was Marvin. We called him Mo. And he would literally say, today, September 7th, he'd say, I've got an appointment to get my hair cut on the 10th of October at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I won't be available between 1 and 3. Okay, thanks, Mo. Next week. Don't forget, I've got that hair appointment on October 10th at 2 o'clock. I won't be available.
Yeah.
Every week, and then the day before, he would remind us that,
That's smart.
well, yeah, because, things fall through the cracks.
Yeah. No, I can definitely agree on that solely because whenever my brain instantly just goes to when you have roommates and you have to inform everybody of everything that's going on all the time.
Right.
Because I'm like, that's just good communication. Like, that's good communication, period. But I think that comes with today's society with digital stuff, in my opinion. We don't have the communication we used to. In fact, I talk very, very regularly with my friends about how I prefer FaceTime because of the fact that you're actually seeing someone's face, you're actually seeing the way that they're talking to you, their body language. You actually have a visual of them instead of just being on the phone or texting. Or if I am texting with someone, I prefer using an actual voice memo because I can hear the inflections in your voice. I can hear like how you're actually talking to me, what's going on for you energetically, emotionally, whatever the case may be. But no, yeah, I definitely, communication's a thing for my brain. I talk about it very regularly with my friends.
Well, and I've told a lot of photographers, if they're shooting a new model, especially if it's TFP,
Yeah.
then make them pay a deposit, a refundable deposit that you give back to them when they show up.
That's smart.
Well, they paid for the studio.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's smart because,
Yeah.
period, that, literally just that, if they're paying for the studio and it's a TFP shoot, they're investing and you're not at that point. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I tell people all the time, like, when I first got into the whole industry and I was learning all of my terminology and I was learning all of the nuanced words and stuff like that, learning about TFP and collabs or collaborations or anything like that, I had to explain to people, I was like, it's kind of a hit or miss depending on who you're working with, what the concept is. It's really just dependent on energy at that point. And if you're not investing anything, then the only person investing stuff is the photographer. And at that point, you better be investing all of your time and your effort into your outfit, your hair, your makeup, everything, because that's the only way, if they're not doing deposits like what you're talking about, that's the only way
Yeah.
I feel it is actually worth it. That's why I stopped doing
And if
so
you're
many
doing
collabs.
that with a photographer, you're staying in contact with them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
most likely you will show up.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's usually my whole thing is if I'm doing a TFP collaboration type shoot, I have to make sure it is a concept that I am full force all about because I know myself. And if I'm not all about it, I'm not going to be on top of talking to someone constantly about it on the level that I would if I was getting paid to do a photo shoot, if that makes any
Right.
sense. But that's also why a lot of my projects over the years have gone from modeling to production. And that's mainly because after doing my short film about human trafficking, I was like, okay, I want to be in production, solely because that was
Okay.
a huge thing for me. I had an absolute blast with.
Let's stop the discussion. She's a well-known, shot all the time model, folks. Give her a call for that. Let's go into a human trafficking production that you did.
Yeah. So back in, let's see, we're in 2024, so it would have been 4/3/2021. Yeah, because it was right after the COVID stuff. I went to California. I got put on a short film about human trafficking as a line producer.
And what is a line producer?
So a line producer, if if you look it up, and I'm saying this way because I looked it up for the actual definition of it, but I knew that I knew what my job was as far as like what we had talked about, what they needed me to do and stuff like that. So I did my job is what I tell people, but what I'm classified as is a line producer. So a line producer is the person that makes sure that everything gets done on time, safely, and creatively. And as a producer, you're usually investing money into it because you're one of the producers. You're not someone who's, for instance, the director might also be a producer, but the director is not inherently putting money into the
Right.
film. So I invested about $3,000, if not a little bit more, into the film, as well as my time and
Effort and everything else.
my time and experience. But it was it's an award-winning short film. It's about 20 minutes long. It has a lot of very interesting musicians in it, very big-name musicians. One of them is Haley Reinhart, if you know who that is.
Well, tell us the name of the film.
It's called the Americana film. It is, it's on YouTube. It's under Joshua Schultz, which is the person that helped do the production, and he wrote and directed it and starred in it. Phenomenal creator. But yeah, I don't know, it was very interesting, like kind of just one of those things that the moment that it hit my messages, I was instantly on board. I didn't even, at the time, I did not have the means to be able to just drop everything and do this, but
you
I
did
did it anyways, yeah. Solely because, like I said, it's sponsored by Harley Davidson. It is, in my opinion, probably one of the best short films I've seen in a long time. And that's not me hyping up me. That's me hyping up the team that put it together, because it's beautifully shot. It is beautifully shot. But no, it's got some good stuff in it. It's about a dad who loses his daughter, and she's like 4 or 5, like somewhere in that age, because we don't really like give an age. She's a young girl.
Very young.
Yeah, she's a very young girl. And that's actually the other part that I had in it, I guess, is I helped cast the little girl. She was a girl that was on 1883 with me for 8 months. She was not on 1883. She was too young, but her whole family was very, very close with me and one of my friends. And they had 3 kids. They had 2 that were on set every single day, and they were working. And then they had this little girl, and she always wanted to work, but she was too young.
She was aged out.
Yeah, she was aged out.
Like I am on a lot of folks now.
Actually, that's an interesting topic. You would very much have lots of work if you worked with that set and that crew, because they are constantly needing people over the age of 35. Any age, just over the age
qualify.
of 35.
My wife and I were both in a film a year ago.
Oh yeah, what was it?
I'll Wait for You.
Who was the director on that?
Half Line Productions, which is Cadence,
Okay.
produced it.
Yeah.
And
Where'd y'all shoot?
they shot it all over, but I was in a scene that was shot at the studio, of course,
Okay. Okay.
and a couple of scenes there.
Okay. Interesting.
I end up being the old man of the star,
Okay.
of him when he turns old,
Yeah.
and then on my deathbed.
Okay. That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
No, I tell people the craziest thing I've done, and I want to do more of very badly. In fact, this is probably the thing I'm asking from the universe the most outside of my go-go dancing career. I have crazy things I want to do with that. But I really badly want to get more gigs like what I did on 1883. I was on there for 8 months. I was technically a reoccurring background featured extra. And I say it that way because so many weird terms that you have to
Learn.
classify in there. But the reason why that's said is because, like I said, I was on there for 8 months. So yes, I'm an extra. Like I'm not a main character, but I'm also on there reoccurring. So
Somebody you see a lot,
yes,
but you really
don't
they don't
realize.
communicate.
Yes, you don't realize that you're seeing them, but they're there, and your brain recognizes their outfits and stuff like that. That's the type of stuff I really enjoy about film sets, is the back end and like seeing
kind of a ghost.
Yeah, just like you're literally, in fact, there's a huge realm on YouTube of people being like, these are the best background extras because of the just like they put in so much acting into their stuff most of the time because of the fact that they know that they're working to be the top person. They're working to be the actual face of whatever film they want to do. And so they know, they're like, okay, I have to really act out. Like I have to do things because I'm in the back. I'm in the background. You can't see me.
The old man hobbling down the road.
Literally, one of the most famous ones is Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Whenever they're all fleeing from the pterodactyls, there is a very famous. He's an extra, but he's not really an extra. He is the director or the writer, one of the two. And he grabs
Cameo appearance.
Yeah, he grabs it, and he's a cameo technically because he wrote it and everything. But this one's famous solely because he was playing an extra in this, and they're like supposed to be running from pterodactyls, but he goes out of his way to grab his margarita and take off with his margarita. So they were like, he knew the assignment, he understood it. But no, I did that for 8 months. I wound up one night, me and the person they paired me with as my like partner on the set, they stole both of us and they said, we're going to place you next to this this campfire. And after we put you by this campfire, y'all are going to speak German to each other and y'all are going to be in the background and y'all will have a speaking role. And I was like, oh, okay, we're just being like thrown in there like that. Got it. I don't speak German. So
you do now?
No, I don't.
But you did then.
No, I did then for sure. So my partner then had to teach me because he spoke German. And that's how they were like, okay, so if he speaks German, he can teach you what to say in response to what he's saying. And that's all you'll have to know. And as an actor, you have to be able to learn stuff like that on the spot. So I was like, got it. Cool. Sounds good. I instantly turn around and like, this is the double realm of acting that people don't talk about all that often, in my opinion, is I said to the director who's standing right in front of me, which is Taylor Sheridan, standing in front of me, and I just go, okay, sounds good. Turn around to my partner, and I go, I need to know this like now. I was like, this is not going to be easy for my brain because I don't learn languages easy. And so I was like, let's do it. But I got that. That was really cool. But the thing I want more of from that.
There's a word in German that defines that. I just don't remember it right now.
Interesting, really.
Now, that gives you the impression I know multiple languages. I don't know shit about German.
You're like, I have no idea. No, but the thing I got from that whole 8 months that I want more of is, one, I want more time period piece type of gigs because I love them. I think they are absolutely amazing because of the time and effort that goes into, let alone the outfits that go into it, but mainly the actual, like, what I went through as an actor. I now feel like I'm like on another level of understanding Leonardo DiCaprio and all of them who've done crazy things for their acting roles.
I'm going to tell you about my brother off camera later.
Okay, I'm down.
So that was your film. I heard you talking to Glenn about sets earlier and set design.
Yes.
You're multifaceted, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I've been called a jack of all trades many times over my career. I think it's just, I'm a creative brain. I tell people all the time, if I could have a job where I just sat down and literally wrote down ideas all day, every day, I would probably be a millionaire at this point.
You would be the original AI.
Honestly, that's what it gives sometimes, is like I can sit down and I'll come up with so much stuff that I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with all this? Why am I being given all this information?
Do you write it down?
Most of it, yeah. Like I try my best to document a lot of what I think about, what I research, anything really. But it stems from just being curious, literally, about everything. I'm constantly questioning so much.
Well, either write it down or, do a voice message to yourself.
My biggest thing is I write a lot of notes.
10 years from now, you may say, dig through those notes and I'm going to do this now. The tools, everything I need available.
That's actually, so a lot of the concepts that I bring to life on my own with like friends and stuff like that is from years of just gathering
Notes.
and products and outfits and things like that. But no, as far as set design and like styling, that actually came from doing a couple years of just like random projects here and there that involved like home decor and design, as well as being on film sets. I have just really, really learned, and not only that, I'm now realizing the third one, which is my YouTube history is so much DIY, home design, home renovations, like stuff like that.
That's your favorite channels, huh?
Honestly, it really is. It's either that or crafting of any kind or sewing, because I did 4 years of fashion design and history. Like I don't know. I've done creative stuff since I was very young. My great grandmother taught me to sew since I was like 7. She started with Barbie clothes, and she was like, you know, if we can. I guess I should say the thing my dad said recently, which he's never said this to me over my life, which I appreciated hearing it now as an adult, which was he was like, we may not have had money over our lifetime, but we've had culture, and that's what I tried to give you. And I was like, that's beautiful. That's very beautiful, actually, because most people try to give their kids material things or money or, you know, for instance, the age-old, here's a college fund type of thing. And instead, he even took notice from a very early age that I was not a school person. And so he was very much the type of person that was like, no, y'all need to go to college. Y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that.
Except you, Alyssa, you do.
By the time I was 18 and a senior in high school, he was telling me, no, I don't think you need to go to college. I think you need to do a trade. I think you need to find your niche and stuff like that, which he didn't want it to be modeling because of solely his perception on eating disorders was his thing. The rest of my family, though, that was the Christianity stuff going on very heavily. But no, it's my set design stuff definitely came from my film work, though. I just enjoy being able to put full products together. Like if I was hired as a like an in-house designer or stylist, I'd probably be in heaven, honestly, because I think my brain resides in a production realm constantly, to the point that even in my daily life, if I'm sitting at my house and say, for instance, I'll use literally what happened in my life just recently. I moved from an apartment to a house. And if anyone knows what that's like, if you're moving from an apartment with a whole house, like a whole apartment, into now I have a roommate and I'm living in one room, you have to downsize a lot.
Right.
And so my brain instantly went into production mode and was like, okay, lists, okay, this, okay, that, like, what do I need to do? I need to get this done so I can be able to make this happen, blah, blah, blah. But on a level that I feel like most people don't realize that I do it, if that makes any sense. But that's because I don't talk about it all that often. Like, this is probably the first time I'm actually fully talking with someone outside of, like, my close friends or my family members about, like, even just the film.
It's been a joy. I'm afraid we have to cut it off.
Yeah.
But, folks, Alyssa Mayo, she's cool. You know,
I hope so.
And she's very, very, very experienced.
I try to be. I've said it since the beginning, and I'll say it here. My job as a model and as a creator is to make whoever hires me not have a job.
They get the easy. They just push the button.
Yep, that's my job. That's what I enjoy doing. As I enjoy making everybody's life easier.
All right. Well, folks, come back and see us next time, and give them your contact info.
You can contact me through my Instagram, which is Alyssa Nicole Mayo. Very basic spelling, ALYSSANICOLE, Mayo, MAYO. But if not there, Mayo is the name on TikTok. That's apparently my platform.
Mayo is the name.
Mayo is the name. And outside of that, I tell people to contact me through my email. So that's on my Instagram as well.
All righty, folks. Give her a shout. Talk to you later. Bye.